says you traded 27 years in Newgate Street as English Furnishings, and we're stood outside what's now the Blue Nail Bar, but towards the end of your career in Newgate Street, this was where you were based. Isn't that right?
Yes. Yeah. I came here in 1974, and I was here for just over 20 years. Before I was in the shop, belonged to Harrison's, Charles Harrison and his father, and they lived above the premises when I first moved here.
And they were outfitters? And
they were general drapers and that, yes.
Now I believe this is where you started off?
Yeah, in 1960 when I left Newcastle Breweries to start on my own, this was my very first workshop. Originally it was used by the Morpeth Model Club, and I got the chance to move into it, and I moved in then, I think September 1960. And this was Sweetbriar Yard. There was an old lady called Mrs. Wilson lived next door, and she had about a dozen cats, and their neighbour again was May Stafford, who had cats as well. Little May Stafford traded opposite here on the corner of Manchester Street. A tiny little woman, she could hardly see over the top of the counter when you went into her shop. She was a great lady for cutting an apple or a pear in half, let you try it before you bought them. She's a real old character, was little May.
Now, when you were in this part of the street, if you looked across the road, was there anything interesting to see?
Oh, it's quite interesting. There were some real characters in the street in them days. Prior to that was Bowman the tailor. He had a tailoring business, and regularly you could see him sit on the counter, hand sewing the suits and that. And he used to wear them deerstalker hats, and that. He was a great fisherman as well, was Bowman. Quite a character, but he died many years ago. I moved from Sweetbriar Place to 16 Newgate Street, which was above the old army stores. And the rooms above there was used prior to me being in it, was Dudding and Elliott, the estate agents. And then about a year after that, I got the chance to get my first shop on the front street, which was where Lowry's, the egg shop was next door to Roy Anderson, the baker, who used to sell the posh cakes, Smythes from Newcastle. Yeah. Opposite that time, there was Edwin Waterson, the chocolate shop. He manufactured his own chocolates. He had a sort of a factory or big workshop in the rear of the shop. But he disappeared quite a few years ago now. I believe it's where Patterson's estate agent is now.
Which other businesses do you remember that have long since disappeared?
Oh, well, the corner shop, which is the bookshop now, Alfie Appleby took that on. Before Alfie Appleby, it was Hoods, who was they were fruiters, and they sold papers and china. Across from my shop at the 20 Newgate Street was Martin's the Butchers, and slightly up from there was Martin's Bank, which have disappeared now. And further down the street you had Miss Price the fruiter. They'd been there for a lot of years, long before the war. Miss Price was there. They had gardens up at Stub Hill, I think, at one time. But in the
you've still got a Price fruiter there?
That's still there today, yeah, but it runs by a lad called Smith now. But we always knew it as Price as a fruit shop.
The street obviously has changed a lot in terms of businesses, but has it changed in any other ways?
Oh, the architecture of the street now hasn't changed a lot over the last 40, 50 years, really. The main one is the old Nag's Head's disappeared and is now replaced by T&G Allen's shop. And the only other major alteration to Newgate Street in my lifetime is between the Conservative Club and Jeff Prowdock's shop, where there was bill hoardings for many years, and that is now the main entrance down to Mains Terrace.
What do you think of the state of the street now, these days?
Oh, I think that, some of the traders complain that it's not all that busy, but I think it's, they've got all the niche shops in Newgate Street, and I think they still do quite well, most of those shops, and it's a very attractive street. If you look at it this year in particular, the blooms in the street are brilliant this year again.
So when you look back on Newgate Street and your own business experience there, are they happy memories?
Oh yeah, I knew everybody. You walked down the street and you knew everybody in the shops. As I say, there's a lot of fascia boards all changed now. The people behind the counters have disappeared. But no, it's a lovely street. Morpeth's a lovely town. It really is.